Welcome to Judgment Day Stories. Today, we're diving deep into the explosive fourth volume of Stormhaven, Pressure Point. If you thought the ground was shaking in Part 3, you haven't seen anything yet. In this installment, the walls don't just tremble, they come crashing down. This is the moment of reckoning, where ghosts from the past rise up to demand a heavy price, one our protagonists never even thought they'd have to pay. The story so far has been about two men, Julian Croft and Leo Hayes, launching a coordinated, two-pronged assault on a corrupt system. Julian, the political strategist, has been the face of the movement, using his charisma and intellect to build a legitimate political insurgency from the ground up. He's the architect of change, meticulously crafting a new reality. Leo, on the other hand, is the enforcer, the shadow operator who handles the dirty work that politics can't touch. He's the muscle, clearing the path with brute force and underworld savvy. Together, they formed a perfect symbiotic partnership, fighting a righteous war on two fronts. They were winning. They had momentum. But every predator knows that the moment you re most vulnerable is right after you've made a kill. And that's exactly where Part 4 begins. The enemy, wounded and cornered, finally strikes back, and they don't play by the rules. Their counterattack is not a frontal assault. It's a deep, insidious infiltration. A carefully manufactured scandal, laced with just enough truth to be believable, is unleashed upon Julian Croft. It's a character assassination, broadcast on every news channel, splashed across every front page. Overnight, the golden boy of reform is tarnished, his carefully constructed public image shattered. The narrative shifts from hope and change to suspicion and disgrace. The very people who cheered for him yesterday are now questioning his integrity. Inside the war room, the atmosphere is suffocating. The air, once electric with victory, now smells of stale coffee and desperation. The team that was once riding a wave of public support is now watching poll numbers plummet in real time. Every phone call brings more bad news, another ally pulling their support, another donor backing out. The dream is unraveling, and Julian is faced with a horrifying choice. To save the larger mission, to keep the hope of reform alive, he has to cut something loose. He has to make a sacrifice. In a cold, calculated move that will haunt him forever, Julian decides to sacrifice a loyal ally, throwing them to the wolves to create a diversion, to buy himself a little more time. This is the first crack in his moral armor. The political prodigy learns the brutal lesson that, sometimes, to save the mission, you must betray the very people who put their faith in you. He's no longer fighting to win. He's fighting just to survive. While Julian is navigating the treacherous waters of political backstabbing, Leo Hayes is dealing with the crisis in the only way he knows how. With overwhelming, definitive force, he gets wind of the frame-up, identifies the players behind it, and mobilizes his crew. His response is not a negotiation. It's a declaration of war. What follows is a brutal, efficient, and violent strike against the enemy operatives who orchestrated the scandal. He moves like a phantom, eliminating the immediate threat and sending a chilling message to anyone else who would dare to cross him. In the short term, it works. The attack stops. But Leo's solution creates a much bigger problem. This wasn't a quiet street corner altercation. This was a surgical strike that left a massive, bloody mess. In his haste to protect Julian, Leo was reckless. He left a trail, a neon arrow glowing in the dark, pointing directly at his entire operation. The police, who were previously fumbling in the dark, now have a solid lead. His other rivals in the underworld, who were watching from the sidelines, now see an opportunity to move in. Leo's greatest strength, his capacity for decisive action, has just become his most significant vulnerability. He won the battle, but he may have just handed his enemies the blueprint to win the war. Think of it like a chain reaction, a series of dominoes falling one after another. The rivals' initial attack created a political scandal for Julian and a criminal. Frame up for Leo. This forced Julian to publicly disown a friend and privately Leo to retaliate with extreme prejudice. But that retaliation creates exponential blowback. The police are now closing in. Rivals are emboldened, and the public's trust is gone. Their elegant two-pronged strategy is in ruins, replaced by a desperate scramble for chaos control. The careful balance they maintained is gone. It's just raw survival. And this brings us to the stark moral judgment of this volume. When your righteous war forces you to betray your allies, to sacrifice the innocent, to use the same brutal tactics as the enemy. What really separates you from the corrupt system you claim to be fighting? Is the concept of the greater good just a convenient excuse to become a monster? Julian stared into the abyss to fight monsters, and now he sees a reflection of one staring back at him from his own darkened window. Leo, who always believed in the purity of his violent code, now stands over the wreckage he created, a hollow victory on his face. They stopped the immediate threat, but the wound they've inflicted upon their own cause, upon their own souls, might just be fatal. The dream is bleeding out, and they're running out of time to stop it. The final scenes of this volume are a montage of the consequences. We see the fallen ally betrayed and abandoned. We see the lead detective on the case, finally getting a clear photograph of Leo Hayes, a ghost he's been chasing for years. We see Julian, alone, the weight of his decisions pressing down on him. They bought themselves another day, but at what cost? Their partnership is fractured, their trust is shattered, and their enemy now knows they can be made to bleed. The elegant game of chess has devolved into a bloody knife fight in a dark alley. Can anything be salvaged from this wreckage? Can Julian reclaim his political identity? Can Leo evade the law and his rivals now that he's been exposed? Most importantly, can their mission survive this fallout? The foundation has been breached, the sanctuary is compromised, and the final moves of the game are about to be made. To witness the aftermath, to see how they try to piece this broken dream back together, you must see Part 5 of Stonehaven. The final judgment is coming. Thank you for joining us on Judgment Day Stories. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the epic conclusion. The verdict is yours to make.